Hi, Jason Knott with CE Pro, and today we are talking about the home theater space with Tayloe Stansbury, CEO of Kaleidescape. Hi, Tayloe.
Hi, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Thanks for joining me. You know, the home theater market took a real boost from the pandemic and all the things that were going on, and I know a lot of integrators are looking to maintain that momentum. And for many, the home theater market is always only as good as its weakest link. And one company that is always focused on really doing something about that has been Kaleidescape in its 20-year history. So I'm excited to talk to you, and I know a lot of integrators are excited to hear about what Kaleidescape has going on. But first things first, you are the new CEO. Tell us a little bit about your background and your journey to become CEO.
Sure. Thank you. So my background is actually as a software tech executive and investor and board member, but my journey with Kaleidescape began about 10 years ago. And 10 years before that, I'd bought my first projector for my quasi theater and started to build it up from there. And I was skeptical. I bought one, and we just gradually fell in love with it. The quality difference of what you get on audio and video compared to what you get typically with a streamer is really palpable, and it makes that experience of the movie be that much more impactful and powerful. So I ended up later joining the board this last summer of Kaleidescape, and then became CEO in the fall. I'd say that coming into this role as a customer for 10 years before has given me a unique perspective on what it is that at least some customers want, and allowed me to think about the problem from a different angle from those who've been in the company for these past many years, and make some, I think, appropriate changes.
So speaking of those changes, you already have hit the ground running and brought in some key executive leadership. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Kaleidescape has had a great team, but I think that as we go into the future, it's important to merge that team with some people who come with some different perspectives and backgrounds. And so we've been bringing in a number of, I think, key executives to the company. First of those is Norma Garcia-Moreau. She's our new vice president of marketing. She comes with a very rich movie background. She served as director of marketing for Dolby Cinema, helping to launch that worldwide. She was head of marketing for THX, so getting that really high-end premium theater experience. Before that, she worked with a number of studios in global marketing roles, including Lucasfilm and Paramount. And she was also named one of the 50 most important women in global cinema. And then more recently, we added Priscilla Morgan to our board. She comes with a rich background that complements Norma's in terms of finance, as well as sales and go-to-market and field operations. And so she has served as a CFO, as a CRO, as head of sales operations at a number of companies, and including in her background, Oracle and Dolby. So she's really helping bring a customer-first approach and how it is that we can go to market. And she was also named one of the most influential women in business by the San Francisco Business Times. So she's just been a great addition to our board. And then most recently, we just brought on board Tom Vaughn. He is head of engineering now, and his background, he brings 30 years of experience in video and audio to our company. He started his career at CBS Records doing CDs, and then moved on to DVD mastering and running a DVD mastering operation. And then more recently, he's been the main driver behind X265, which is the main transcoding tool that's used for all 4K video. So he was at Beamer, where he's VP of strategy, and we're really looking to him to help deliver on our very aggressive future product roadmap, not limited to improving how rich our transcodes are of our movies that everybody gets to watch on our systems.
That is an impressive dream team. So congratulations for bringing everybody on board.
We're not done
yet. All right, let's talk a little bit about, everybody knows Kaleidescape, been around, really the driving force in the media server space, been around for 20 years. How does Kaleidescape maintain its relevance as we look to the future?
So Kaleidescape has been innovating in the home premium movie playback space for 20 years. Today, we deliver absolutely the best picture that you can get the video images that we drive are at much higher bit rates than you can get through a streamer. The transcriptions that we do from studio masters are done very carefully. They're all reviewed by human beings. We find all the glitches and fix them so that it really is just pristine image. And typically 4x the bit rate, what you're going to get through a streamer, so that just the image has more punch, and especially in high motion scenes, it makes a huge difference. I would say another difference is in sound. We deliver much higher bit rates. There's about 10x what you can get through a typical streamer. And what we deliver is lossless formats, not the lossy versions of Dolby Atmos, but the full version that is lossless. And so the punch, the auditory punch and the emotional punch that has played through almost any system, you can really hear the difference, and it makes the movie have that much more impact. And then I'd say third is, and this is something that we've done since the very beginning, we were the first to integrate home automation into our system so that when you hit play, it will close the shades, dim the lights, change the screen masking to be the right ratio for the movie you're actually playing. And then it's aware of when the credits start to roll, and it can gradually reverse all of that gracefully as the movie ends. So that sense of almost having your own projectionist in your home, but not having a physical human being there to do that.
So all of those elements that you just mentioned are really important to integrators. So it's exciting to hear. But let's go back to that first one. You mentioned the improved quality from streaming, but how is it that Kaleidescape is able to actually provide better quality than Blu-ray?
That's a great question. So we do master from original source files. We actually will deliver sometimes higher bit rates than you can get because we're not constrained by the size of a 4K Blu-ray disc. So many of our movies are transcribed at higher bit rates and with larger file sizes than what you can actually fit on a physical 4K Blu-ray disc. The audio again is full lossless Atmos in many cases, and the images, the bit rate that we're allowing our transcription tools to produce is much higher, so that we can get that crisper image on the screen. One of the things which is really an advantage for an integrator is that you can manage all of the settings for the system centrally on the server and do any of those things remotely rather than having to go around to each physical endpoint within the house to update things or change settings. So it makes the whole administration of the system much more convenient, as well as just being super convenient for the customer to start a movie in one place and finish in a different room.
Let's go back to what you also mentioned earlier about the key integration elements, which so many integrators are taking that Kaleidescape server and integrating with third-party whole house controls. Tell us about some of the key integration efforts that you have made to enhance the experience of the private cinema.
Sure. Well, all the movies have a bunch of metadata that we've actually helped produce for them, so that the system is aware of what is the aspect ratio of the screen that you have. Does it need an anamorphic lens put in where you are in the movie, so that it knows what's appropriate in terms of lighting and shading. And all of that can be directly integrated into your home system, so that you just have that beautiful experience when you sit down, select a movie, hit play, and the whole room magic just happens for you, which helps enhance the experience and keeps you fully engrossed in the movie, so that you can enjoy that and have the full impact of it rather than being distracted by other things that may be going on around you.
Integrators so often get kind of the short end of the stick from so many manufacturers. So when a manufacturer such as Kaleidescape is really paying attention and working with them, it's a big deal. So tell us about some of the training and certification programs that you have for integrators.
Great question. We just recently launched some new training. It's a series of classes, and they're all pretty easy. They're all about 20 or 30 minutes each. And what they do is help train you on the system and tools and techniques for selling it and for setting it up so that it can run correctly for the customer the first time they sit down to enjoy their theater. And so that certification program only takes about 3-4 hours to run through. And we're asking all of our dealers to get through that by the end of this year. So several of them have. Every single class that people have taken gotten a 5-star rating. So people are liking that and finding it helpful. We've also found that our support cases have dropped since we launched that training. So it's definitely working.
It's helping both them and you. That's great. Recently, there was a big deal about a special promotion that Kaleidescape was working on or had developed with Sony projectors. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, it's Sony has been launching a couple of new projectors, as I'm sure you know. They're gorgeous. And we and they felt that it really made sense to have those new amazing projectors fed by a Kaleidescape source, so you could get the highest bitrate audio and video, or especially video, fed into those things, and so that they could really be shown off to their full capacity. Because feeding those with, an inexpensive streamer doesn't make a lot of sense. There's nothing that you can do to interpolate bits that aren't there adequately. So when you feed it with a Kaleidescape, it just lets those projectors shine. So we both felt that it didn't make sense for a customer to buy one of those great projectors without feeding it with a Kaleidescape. So what we put together jointly is a program where whenever you buy a Sony projector, the top end projectors, the top 5 projectors that they have, then you get $3,000 off of a Kaleidescape system of your choice. So we found enormous uptake on that since we launched that program. We're really excited about that. It's sort of the right thing for the customer. We expect that we'll have some other partnerships like that to announce in the not too distant future.
Yeah, that's great. That goes back to what I was saying in the open, that a theater is only as good as its weakest link, and if that source component is the best it can possibly be, then that eliminates that weak link, which in many cases is the source component. All right,
that's exactly right. Any other component that you enhance in the system, if it's feeding from a weak source, it just can't make up the difference. But when you replace and upgrade that source component, every other component downstream in your entire system benefits from it and will give you that more impactful experience when you sit down to watch a movie.
Well, congratulations on that deal with Sony. So CEDIA Expo is coming up this fall in Indianapolis. There's a lot of excitement because so many integrators have not seen any of the products in person for such a long time. What might we expect to see from Kaleidescape and what's on the product roadmap?
So we will definitely be at CEDIA. We are expecting to make some product announcements at CEDIA. We have a pretty aggressive product roadmap, but unfortunately, I'm not going to share that. So you'll have to stay tuned until then.
You're going to tease us?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Well, we will just have to wait and see what you have in Indianapolis, September 1 through 3 then. So Tayloe Stansbury, CEO of Kaleidescape, thanks for joining CE Pro today.
Thank you very much.